Hi, this is Dr. Eric Lindquist, and welcome to Linguistics Interpretation of Sonographic Pathology. This is an interesting case we ran in today, sent by a telemedicine client on an older Yorkie with an ain't doing right GI symptom history. And you can see that the first video I run into, you see this portion of intestine that is very thickened. I'm going to slow this video down a little bit. And up here in the corner, you see some pretty normal small intestine. Curvilinear patterns are okay, but you have this portion of jejunum that's really thickened. And I'm going to stop this video just a second. And we see, everybody asks me, well, is it cancer? Is it not a cancer? Well, this one's approaching neoplastic criteria. That is, we're starting to lose mural detail here in this area. Let's count the layers. If you've been to our courses, you know about GI layering, and we can see that this is serosa, this is muscularis, this is submucosa, and this is mucosa. And then we get to the lumen, where you get the dirty interface of the chyme. And we know from our courses that fuzzy fat tells us where the problem is. So this is ill-defined mesentery attaching to the pathology, telling you this is the problem. And so the other thing we see are regional lymph nodes that are distorted. Now, typically lymph nodes that are longer than they are wide and kind of look like an egg are reactive. However, these are starting to expand and create irregular contour. And when that happens, you have to think of at least aggressive lymphadenitis, if not emerging round cell neoplasia, or carcinoma mets or something along those lines. But we see have all this reactive mesentery, and this is all localized peritonitis. There's a little bit of free fluid here, so definitely there's some heat going on here regarding pathology. So let's look at what this does the next few videos. This is why we do video instead of stills on interpretation. Never, ever make an interpretation on still image alone. I strongly recommend that. So we watch this intestine and the regional lymph nodes, and you see the stasis in here. We have other smaller nodes, a little bit of free fluid up here, and just going to jump through this video. Then it's the next video, and you see we lose detail here. We see that the submucosal layer is starting to get destroyed. And remember that submucosal layer is your surgical holding layer, so that when that gets destroyed, you know you have significant pathology. So you have to hope that you can cut this out. I would not treat this medically. It's too disruptive. I don't see a foreign body in here, but did we have a smoldering toothpick or skewer or something in here? All possible. Maybe it moved on through and it's elsewhere and created all of this havoc in the meantime. We don't know. And there are a lot of things that can do this. Neoplasia being one. It's always in play here as we're reaching areas of neoplastic criteria, and definitely the lymph nodes are a suspect. This is a mesenteric artery, so don't stick that. It's a lot easier way to get a blood sample than sticking a mesenteric artery. Just make sure you angle away from that when you get into these lymph nodes or start doing aspirates in this area. So this is another interesting video. We have an obstructive pattern, right? So we have this pathological bowel, we have this stasis of ingesta here. It's all kind of bound up and not moving. And then we have the empty small bowel. So dilated upper GI followed by empty small bowel creates an obstructive pattern. So to me, this is a surgical case just to get this bowel out of here and biopsy and culture the lymph nodes as well. That's what I would do with this one, because this bowel doesn't belong there. It is bad. It is ugly. It is pathological. Is it neoplastic? Possibly. And this is why when you get this out onto the surgical table or in a prep area where you can biopsy, you want to take your probe and do ultrasound right on the bowel and look for the areas that lose mural detail where that submucosa is disrupted. You see how thick this submucosa is, but it's still intact in this portion of bowel. But there are other portions where you're starting to lose it, like here. So this is the area you want to biopsy, because that's the worst case scenario of what's going on in this bowel. And so I would send in multiple samples on this. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. We're going to do a series about every month of linguistics on interpretation of sonographic pathology. And this is what we do all day long. Hope you like it.